Hello and welcome. I'm Patricia Rezzatello. Thank you for stopping by. Make sure to like, share, react to this. Feel free to ask questions anytime during the call. If you come in afterwards, feel free to leave questions for Tania or myself. Tania, I will learn how to say it right.
You got that pretty right.
Tania, I will get this, I promise. Hello, Tania.
Hey, Patricia, thanks very much for inviting me.
You're so welcome. I've looked forward to doing this for quite a while. And before we go any further, before I forget, because there does seem to be issues when I don't say this, gentlemen, I'm really sorry. This pretty face is taken. Nobody looks at profiles. Nobody sees that I'm married. Nobody sees any of this stuff. So, hey, taken and not looking. So, all right. So to begin with, what do we mean by business?
Okay, so business automation is about finding any of your tasks that are repetitive. They're repeatable, so it's not just a one-off task, that are boring, annoying, or you just don't understand. Or every time you have to do it, you have to look up how to do it or go to YouTube. Those are the sort of tasks that you look to see if there's any sort of software, system, or staffing that can do it for you. So that's what I think of as business automation.
I certainly have a few of those myself.
Everybody has.
And stuff that and there's stuff that I know I should do and stuff that I'm supposed to not doing because it's, I don't know, it's out of my box. So it doesn't get done. Would you share your background? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's exactly it. It's people are too busy to look for something else. So that's one of the reasons why I've got my business automation group, is that you can come in and say, is there any way to automate it? And I'll go looking to see what might be available. And the great thing is my group is very active. So if you ask, somebody else is likely to jump in.
Yeah. Share some of your background with this. What kind of experiences make you an expert in business automation?
The main one is that I'm lazy. I'm happy to admit to that, and that makes me really efficient.
It does, actually. It does.
It really does. You look for the easiest way of getting things done. Actually, so in business, I've been in business administration since years, many years, decades, in fact. And in every job I've ever been in and in my own business, I've always looked for how to make it work easier, because people overcomplicate things. Rather than 1, 2, 3, 4, people will go 1 to 75, and in between you've got to do 400 steps that you don't even know, and if the expert is away, nobody can proceed with it. That is just stupid to me. There's no other word for it. So in every job I've ever gone into, I've streamlined, I've created systems, I've found software that will work better for us, and I've improved how staff are, because a lot of times people will not make changes because, Tania won't do that, so nobody can do it. We'll either get Tania trained up or sack Tania, or work around Tania, go, okay, Tania, here's a special project for you. You go and do that so that we can get the work done. And it's a bit of work. It's not just something easy, but what I've found is that the investment in time at the beginning saves you so much time in the end. But it's that fear of change and the changing of habits. I'm actually doing a little Facebook Live about habits at the moment, but it's changing the habits. People are basically hate change. So I just want to keep doing the way I've been taught or the way I know, and I'm just not going to change. So I come in as a new person and go, why? And it's because it's always been that way. So that's my background. I've been in business administration and a manager for decades, and, oh God, for both. I've been over 10 years as a manager, over 30 years in business administration. So, I've seen all of the problems that people have in a business, and I usually think of a decision, but you've got to ask the question, you've got to be willing to make the decision to change. And that's the people I want to work with, people who are willing to make the decision to change something and then go from there.
Uh-huh. So how does a business automate, whatever it needs to automate?
Well, first of all, what I was talking about earlier is, I love how you just sort of waved your hands, trying to work out. But it's really good because that's what most people are. I don't even know where to start. So it's identifying jobs that are exactly, as I said, repetitive, repeatable, and just seeing what is available. So the first step is just to do a Google search, do a YouTube search. Can I do this some other way? With the power that Google has now is, how can I automate my accounting? How can I automate my filing? So much is saved on the cloud nowadays because people hate filing. I'm one of those. I've been in business for 30 odd years and I would file when it got taller than me, and I'm 5'2". So I had a way to go before I would do my filing.
Yeah, I have stuff that I put off that's like that. I mean, it's not filing. Well, I suppose technically it is, but
exactly. And that's what people do, is it's too hard, or they just keep going with the way it was going, even though everybody knows it takes so long. So with your software, you just Google what software, and with your filing, scan it, print it as a PDF, it's saved. You don't have to file it, destroy it. It's done with. It's saved forever. And if you're worried about it getting lost, save it in on your computer, in the cloud, in Google Drive, in OneDrive. You've got so many options of where it could be. Dropbox. You can't say I can't. I'm scared that I'm going to lose it. If all of those have crashed, the internet has crashed, and we're facing the zombie apocalypse. So
which
that's
half the internet was down a few weeks ago, but
exactly. But yeah, so look for what software can do something. Is there a software out there that can do at least part of what I'm doing? Because even saving 5 minutes a day adds up. If you've got 20 staff, that's half an hour to an hour that can be saved per day, just by automating. So that's how you do it with software.
Yeah. So things like autoresponders and this and that, and
Zapier,
all those fun tools.
Even Excel and Word can automate things for you, because you can copy and paste and change things around. You can, use tables to convert from text to table and table to text. You can use so many things that can, all your social media can be shared easily by setting up an IFT applet. Zapier does a similar thing. It's getting out and asking somebody, is there a way of doing that? All of us who collect emails are doing it automatically with software. We're no longer, saving them into our Gmail and then emailing out everybody. It's all on Aweber or Campaign or GetResponse. And if you do it from Gmail, they're likely to call you a spammer and tell you to stop doing that. So there was a need. It was identified. People asked for it or went looking for it, and now we have all these companies that are offering autoresponders. By asking for, can something be done, all of us are entrepreneurs. So if you hear somebody asking for a product, in the Business Automation 101 group, we've got several people who are software developers, and they'll hear, can we do this? And we've had several of them do this. Hey, look, here's a quick automation that will do it for you. That's it. You have to ask. But most people just go, well, it can't be fixed. I'm just got to live with this and don't move on. They've got to move on by making the decision to look for an easier way of doing it. And fears of businesses and staff that if it gets automated, I'll be out of a job, is utter BS, because when your time is freed up, you start doing more productive and more efficient things, because you're not having to do the really boring and mind-dulling things. Instead, you're, okay, you no longer have to do this, but now you can ring more clients for us. What's better, you typing up their names into a spreadsheet or recording all their emails, or ringing them once a month and going, hey, what's been happening? If you're too busy entering data, you don't have time to go and visit them. If something can do it automatically for you, you do have time to visit and call them.
Yeah. Well, like today I was searching for a zip file in Dropbox.
Yep.
And it did eventually find it, but I also found it in Evernote a lot faster.
Yep.
So I'm going to go back over to IFT and set up something so that when I put stuff in Dropbox, it leaves me a note in IFT.
Yep. Evernote,
rather. Yeah. Yeah, I find stuff much faster there, and then you just click over to it, and bing, you've got it.
It's there, and that's exactly right. It's, I can set up an automation saying you should do this, but it doesn't work for you. And this is the power of things like IFT and Zapier. It's not like you've gone to a developer and you've got paid $100 or $1,000 or $10,000 to get software made, and it's not doing the right thing for you. Using these free things like IFT, Zapier has a free function as well that you can use. You're able to, if it doesn't work, you can go in and change it. You're not having to pay a developer. It's really simple to use. And, eventually if you go, well, I need it to do 8 different things, then at least when you go to a developer, you're not going, I want something to happen. And when you don't go to a developer with, I want this, this, and this, you end up spending a lot of money, especially when you then have to change it. So by starting your automations, you're able to see where there are gaps. You can then start looking, does IFT answer it? Do I have to go to something else? Do I still have to do it manually, but I'll keep an eye out? Here's a perfect example. Facebook Live Traffic Automation Cheat Sheet, my product I've been putting out. The only way I knew how to download Facebook Live videos was by copying the link, changing it to M and everything else like that. That's what I put in my instructions. But since it started getting out, I've had a gentleman by the name of Jonathan Heyman and Philip Lopez, who both came up with additional solutions, which make it so much easier. So I'm going to be and I've let all my people know, but I'm also going to be putting videos into my membership showing exactly how to do it. Somebody read something and went, did you know you can do another thing? So by asking and getting it out into the community that I want it to do this, you're going to get 100 replies, of which some of them are going to be really good, and you'll know who you trust. If Tania says it, yes. If Joe Blogg says it, maybe that's a little bit of a spammy, scammy type thing. But, oh, hang on, Tania said it, and then it was backed up by 4 or 5 other people who agreed, then go and have a look at it. And most of these automations have a free function, so you're not having to pay for it and then go, no. You can try it and play around with it. That's the whole idea of business automation, and where I'm coming from is start to see if it works, and if it doesn't work, ask some more questions and then walk away from it. It hasn't taken a huge investment of your time. You yourself, you've gone from barely knowing what IFT is or ever going into it to finding more and more uses for it, and that's where it's so important.
Yeah.
Saving time. That's what business automation is for me. I want to save time because you can make more money. You can get more friends and family come and go and everything else like that. But once your time is gone, your time is gone. You can't get it back.
It's kind of limited.
Oh, it's totally limited. It's you can't buy more time. You might live longer, or you might be able to keep yourself healthy, but once that time is gone, it's gone, never to come back. You can't do a do-over. Groundhog Day might be handy if you wanted to learn how to do things, but we don't have that ability in our lives.
Yeah, and then you said something about systems.
Yeah, with my business automation, I've broken it down into 3 things of what I think is important. It's software we just talked about, systems, and then I'll also talk about staffing. But systems are having a look at your processes, and you're having checklists and Do you know what you actually have to do? Your software is great as long as someone knows how to run it. If it's broken and nobody's checking on it, you're sitting there thinking that, yes, all your links to Evernote are working, but because you haven't set up a system to check it once a week or once a month, or, usually when you first set something up, I sort of check it every day to make sure has it all worked. Yes, it has good. And then after that, you can get lazier and lazier, my goal in life. But if you don't have your systems and your processes in place in your business, things are going to fail. You know that tax time is coming up, so you have to have something in place so that come the day the taxes are due, you don't sort of walk into your accountant at 5 minutes to 5 and go, here's my box of receipts. Can you have it ready for putting it in? They're going to go, no. They're probably going to say a few other words to you. But you have to have some systems in place. So you use calendars, you use checklists, you document how to do your processes. And when I say document your processes, people will often say that's going to take time, but you're already doing it. You're actually doing the work. So turn on your recorder, and there's so many available, Camtasia, Screencast-O-Matic, there's more and more available. You can actually be able to record how you do your systems. And then get them transcribed. There's your go to Fiverr and get it transcribed. Your systems and your checklists mean that anybody can come in, and leading to the next section, which is staffing. If you've already started recording all the things that you do, when you're ready to hire a VA or you're ready to hire staff, you've got your systems already set up in that. Watch these 3 videos. This is how I like my post set up, because you've got a system in place. This is how it's got to be done. We all have habits, and this is where systems also come into the way you do something. So when you're teaching, leading to staffing, you just presume that because you do it that way, they'll do it that way. But if you haven't got a system or a checklist, they won't do it your way because they'll do it their way. They're looking for the easiest way of getting it done as well.
Yeah. And if they don't have a system that they can follow, they're going to resort to default, which is, well, whatever default is.
Well, and even yourself will go to default. I hate saving receipts, so I'll just leave them. I'm sure I'll do them later this month. I'll do them next month, okay? every 3 months without fail. Okay, every 6 months. Well, I'm definitely every 6 months, and then all of a sudden it's, oh yeah, taxes are due tomorrow. There's this big box of receipts I haven't entered in anywhere. And, I hear people getting stressed out because of that very reason. So your systems and all of that just means that there's something in place that reminds you that this has to be done. That's a basic system, what it is. This is how to do it, and this is when it should be done.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then staff, you said.
Sorry?
How you can use your staff. Staff was the next section that you said, the next thing that you'd said.
When I'm talking with people about business automation and I'm letting them know, they often think it all has to be mechanical or software, and it's not. Automations exist with staff as well, in that your staff will check your social media for you, they'll check your email for you. You need human eyes on some of the things that you have in your business. So you need to set up automations as such with the people that are working for you. And this is where, you do a backup every day. You make sure that the backups have worked. Depending on what it be, you check my emails for me. Is there anything important? You forward it through to me. So it's an automation that your staff, your VA, or whoever it might be, has been set up so that they follow every day, every week, every month, whatever the process is. But it's set up so that it's supposed to happen. Now, if you don't include staff into business automation, you're depending on things that if they fail, nobody catches it. If you think that all of your links are being saved to Evernote, and 3 months from now you go to look for something and go, when did this fail? Because you changed your password and forgot to go and set it up back in IFT or whatever it could be. You've lost 3 months worth of work, and somebody's got to catch that up, and that becomes a human being. So having staff and having VAs who can actually be tasked to do those things that you don't like doing, that makes your business more automatic in that things are getting done. Automation is about it gets done and it doesn't have to be done by me. That's how I think of automation. So use staff, you use software or you use systems so that you know that it's not just, oh yeah, I think I was supposed to do that about 2 months ago. Oh yeah, oops. Make your business
usually more. there's a 2-word exclamation that we say. It starts with the word O and maybe we add some other things to it, but
rhymes with duck.
Quite often.
Exactly. So, it's look for solutions. It really is. It's can it be done by software? If I set up a system, will I remember to do it, or will somebody remember to do it? And my staff can do what I don't want to do.
Yep. I'm not good at it, and that's why I don't like to do it. They like to do that kind of stuff.
I hate filing. I loathe filing. I may have mentioned that once or twice. My son loves filing. He worked at a business and he just was stuck in the filing room and he really enjoyed it. For whatever you hate doing, there is somebody out there who thinks that's the best thing to do since, sliced bread was invented. And you just watch them and think, why would you want to do that? But when they look at what you do, they just go, nah, would never, ever do what you do. And acknowledging that is a big thing, because a lot of entrepreneurs, when I've spoken to them, are going, I just want to clone myself. No, you don't, because you'd probably fight with yourself and wouldn't get much done, because you'd both be wanting to do the same thing. Who does the stuff that you don't want? Okay, so you want somebody who fits in all the bits that you don't want to do. And when you find that person, you hold on to them really tight and you pay them really well so you don't lose them.
Yes. Okay, so let's suppose we're looking at a micro business with a solopreneur of us, right? Where do we start automating our business?
Well, the first thing to do is you've set up a website or you've gone into a Facebook group. So you need to have backups done. You need to be able to save what you're creating. So it's no good if your website is awesome and it crashes and you've got no backup. So then you've got to recreate everything that you've done. That's a simple thing that you can set up. And there's so many things so many places and opportunities to do that. Get your social media automatically shared through IFT. That's an easy way of doing it. Any post gets shared to Twitter and LinkedIn and all the rest. Look at how you can record expenses. I've talked in several of my Facebook Lives and in my group about how all of my PayPal payments go into a Excel spreadsheet that's created with IFT, so that I don't have to be thinking, how much have I spent? I can actually go in and look and sometimes think, but that's part of being a business owner. But at least it's all done automatically. And I can also then be going, why am I paying $10 to Patricia? What did oh, that's right. Yes, I want to be in her membership or whatever. And you can keep on doing it, but it comes in handy for those ones that you've signed up and forgotten that you're paying $5 or $10 a month to somebody that you've never even logged into their membership. That allows you to quickly go, well, I'll get rid of them. Do your accounts, automating them. So again, have all of your payments made automatically for you. You have to have your internet and your phone and your power and, all your basics. Set it up so that it gets paid, whether you do it, via, in Australia, we have what's called BPay, where you can just set it up automatically. Your bank does a deduction. PayPal has similar things, but whatever you're using, make sure that every month your bills get paid, and then you at least know that you're not suddenly going, oh, that's right, that's why I've got no internet. I forgot to pay the bill this month. Again, set up, and by doing all of those small things with accounts, you know that every month you need $500 to pay all your bills. So you put that in also into one account, and you have all of your payments come out of that account, so that that's your bill paying account. That's a little thing that can save you time, and rather than going, have I got enough money in the bank, simply because you've made a big purchase or a payment's late coming in, before you spend any money, you have to have that money sitting in that account or credit card or whatever it might be. Sorry, not credit card. recommend that for your business, but it has to be used sometimes. But a debit type card where you've got a Visa card attached to a bank account, we do that in Australia, so that money's sitting there and not touched, and all your bills are paid, and then what's left over you can worry about. Little things like that save you having to worry about the power's gone out, the internet's not on, and I can't answer the phone. Oh, I better go and pay those bills really urgently. And, and you may have the money to do it, but you haven't set it up automatically. Those are the little things that can really save you a lot of time. And of course, if they overcharge you, well, then that's when you do have to spend some time. But if ever that happens, the amount of time you've saved from not having to get online and look for the bill and find the number and enter it in and put in the amount and all that mucking around makes up for the one time in the year maybe that you have to ring them up and go, hang on, you've charged me twice, or why is my bill $100 more? And then you go, oh, that's right, yes, I did this. But at least then you're saving that time.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those little things can really add up to a lot of time saved and a lot more security for you, because you're not sharing on social media, you're not worrying about bills being paid, you're not thinking, what happens if my computer dies, because it's all backed up on the cloud and everywhere else like that.
Yeah. I think we have similar banking stuff here in the States.
Yeah.
I've actually gone to pay my phone through my bank because they were charging like $10 just to pay.
And banks are heading that way. I used to work for an accountant, worked in a bank for a short period of time, but they want to make money as much as possible. They don't want you coming in because that means they've got to hire staff. So they are actually punishing you for paying by check or paying. They want everything done electronically. And we can say that's taken away the face of banks and organisations. But if that can make your business more efficient, use it as much as possible. If you get a discount, if you pay everything online, we'll pay everything online. Work with what the system is. It's all very well to go in the good old days, or it'd be nice, but you have to work with what you've got right now.
Yeah. So here's one that I've been struggling with. I suspect I'm not the only person. I know for a fact that I need a VA, but I have A, no idea where to start, and B, I don't know how to afford that. So what steps might I take to figure out how to get the most beneficial things off my and into the finding things for the VA to do, and in so doing ending up with 3 times more work than I had before.
Yep. Okay, so you don't know where to start, and there's plenty of places that you can find a VA, and you can even start with the very basics by just going to Fiverr. And people have said that there's good and bad people on Fiverr. You have to experiment a bit. You might have to pay 3 people to find a good person, but at $15, that's a lot cheaper than having hired a VA that doesn't do what you want them to do. So it depends on what you ask. You also have to look, do I have enough work in a week to pay a VA for a full week? There's organisations like 123 Employees and a whole heap of others where you just pay a monthly charge. I also know of another organisation where you just pay something like $100 a month. It's called Web Support Team from memory. And you just get a certain number of credits that you can ask them to do a task. You don't get a specific VA. And you have to be it makes sense to be very detailed in your task. And you can just tell them, I want you to put 4 new pages on my website if you're not technical at all, and they'll do it, and it'll cost you a credit or 3 credits or whatever. And if for $100 you get 30 credits a month or something like that. So you need to the very first step is to work out how much work do you want to get rid of. How much it's going to cost you becomes secondary once you start realizing how much time you can save by giving tasks to a VA. The easiest way of doing that is 2 ways. The first way is just to start recording what you do on a computer so that you can at least be able to see, I thought this task takes 5 minutes and it actually takes me, who knows how to do it, 25 minutes, because we tend to compress our time. It's a 5-minute job, and then somebody's been learning it or watching it and going, How can it be a 5-minute job when it takes you 10 minutes just to do step one? You know, because you do it all the time, you compress time. I say to everybody, if you think it's going to take 10 minutes, budget at least 20, and probably if you're smarter, budget 30, because it actually won't. And then if you don't use those 30 minutes, well, that's 10 minutes you can use on something else. But if you budget 10 minutes and it takes 30 minutes, you've lost 20 minutes out of your day. And it allows you to, in effect, create a library and a training session on how to show the person when you hire them what to do. Second thing is start, wherever you are, use Evernote, which is great for this. When you're out or you're working on something and you're thinking, oh, I'm doing this, I don't really like doing this, go into Evernote and write, I don't like doing this, whatever it is. Call it. That'll allow you to be able to, and also because you're recording what you're doing, you're able to say, I hate this job filing. It takes 15 minutes every day to do my filing. That's one job that if you can get, and when people talk about a VA, some people do need somebody online, but you might be able to find somebody in your town who for your price is willing to come in and work. You know, people who are studying or who are starting out, who are doing training to be a secretary, college kids who are trying to make a bit of extra money. You might be able to source them to come in and work for a couple of hours a day for you. They come in, you've got a list of tasks because you've worked out what their list of tasks are. I went to Marketing Mayhem 2 years ago, and the number of people I ran into who turned around and said, I've got a VA and they're not doing their job. And I said, well, what are you telling them to do? And they sort of looked at me like I was asking a dumb question and went, well, they're a VA. They should VA. Well, no, you can't VA if you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. And well, I was really busy and I couldn't give them any work, so they should have gone looking for something to do. Did you tell them to go looking for something to do? Did you give them a list of tasks? I've written an Amazon book, 150 tasks you can give your VA. You know, people sort of go through it and are thinking, oh, wow, I didn't even think that I could give that to a VA. There's so many. I came up with 150. I'm sure I could do another 150. But people are not looking at it or thinking about it. They're just sort of going, oh, they shouldn't find or look. If you're not, we're entrepreneurs. When something needs to be done, we get in and do it. A lot of people, when you hire them, go, what do you want me to do? And they will just sit there and wait until you tell them what to do. Now, if they sit there and wait for an entire week, you owe them for an entire week. If you didn't give them anything to do, it's not their fault, it's your fault. So, you know, before you even start looking, find out all the things you want them to do. And that also then allows you to prioritize. These are the most important things. If this was taken off my hand, that gives me an extra hour to call clients, to create products, to make cheat sheets, to, you know, to do Facebook Lives, to do my videos, whatever it might be, because I know that for that hour, the work is being done. Those tasks are being done. This is the most important things that are being done. And then, because you just write down everything that you'd like to get rid of. And then when you hire for the most important things. It's much more important that I get somebody who can do WordPress backups than it is that I can get somebody who can file, because I'll just scan it and get rid of it later. You know, I do harp on filing because I so hate it. But that's how you do it. That also then means that if you are busy for whatever reason, your VA has got a task list. If I'm doing a launch, or if I've got 5 clients and I just can't talk to my VA today, they know that these are the tasks that should be done daily and weekly and monthly. So if they're sitting there going, I've got nothing to do, they have to go to that task list and go, oh, okay, well, I haven't gone and checked all of your Facebook accounts. So is the image the most up-to-date one? Tick, it's done. And again, they can send you an email that goes, okay, you haven't been in contact with me, and no blame or anything like that. But, you know, I didn't receive any instructions from you today, but these are the tasks that I did. And then you can go, that's great. Or actually, rather than doing that task, tomorrow do this task. And rather than getting, I sat here all day waiting for you to send me work and you didn't. Here's my bill. You're going to be annoyed. They're going to be annoyed with you, because also if you're being paid to do something, you usually like to be busy. There is always somebody who's happy to paid to do nothing. But most people who are going looking for work as a VA are looking to be busy and to be active, and they want a good reference from you. So they don't want sat on their backside all week and did nothing. They went over and above, looked for things to do. But in order to look for things to do, they have to know what they can do. Because you don't want to come back and go, look, Patricia, I had a look at your website and I decided that, your colour isn't the nicest. So I redid it all in, puke yellow. Hope you like it. And you're sitting there going, no.
Okay, you're going to put it right back.
Exactly. You have to pay them. So you've now had to pay them to do something you didn't want them to do, and now you're having to pay them to undo what they did. Whereas if you can say, look, at some stage go in and change all of my headings from green to orange because that's my latest colour, that's something that they can do in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But and that's where there are some people who need to tell exactly what they want them to do and don't do anything out of scope. There are some who say, look, you're totally free, do whatever you like. That's really dangerous. I don't recommend it. But some people are happy like that. They trust their VAs and they've had them long enough. You don't do that with a new VA because you're going to end up in deep, deep trouble. But, that's where you start if you're thinking about getting a VA. Work out what you want them to do, record what you're doing so you've got an idea of how much time you're spending on stuff. And when you write your job description for hiring a VA, you know what your priorities are, even though you didn't know them at the start of the exercise.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So we're kind of out of time here.
Yep.
Tania, thank you so much for your time. I didn't see any questions come in. So what I'm going to do is post and show where your group is.
Thank you.
I hope. Oh, there it is. Good. Okay. Yeah, hop on over, and I think, obviously there's a link there because that's a comment. Hop on over to Tania's group and say hi and ask whatever questions that you might have. There's a lot of people in there nowadays. Well, maybe not a lot of people, but there's people in there, and a lot of them are helpful. And, ask questions, offer solutions, whatever it is you got. It's a really nice little group.
It is. It's a really good group. So I hope you have a look at this and definitely come over and join. You're most welcome.
So thank you all for coming today and watching and listening. If you have questions, come on over to the group and drop them in there. So we'll see y'all later. Thanks.
Thank you. See you all. Bye.